Okay, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I am Roxanne Armstrong, and I work at the Clinic Now Chiro, which is where most of you heard about today's webinar. And I am the nutritional support or assistant there. A little bit about my background is I have my applied clinical nutrition certification. And so basically what that means is that my ability or my credentials is in applied clinical nutrition. And so really working to help support and be able to help people to not only understand nutrition, but be able to apply it into their lives. And so that's my hope even today with today's webinar, that we will be able to help you learn how to apply supporting the immune system into your day-to-day life. In clinic, a lot of what I do is some functional testing, looking at blood labs. We do what's called the heart sound recorder so that we are able to analyze the heartbeats and see what nutritional deficiencies are showing up that way. We do some muscle testing, but really like to look at some of those functional tests and work with patients one-on-one to be able to see what can most benefit them. To get started today, we're going to throw up our disclaimer really quick. We actually had a little bit of concern, which was good to have that feedback coming in today, that some people were a little nervous when they saw the title of this webinar come out, to educate before you vaccinate. And so I just want to clarify that and let everyone know that our effort and goal with this webinar is to provide substantiated information on how to support and strengthen the body's immune system. We have no intention of suggesting that people not vaccinate or take the flu shot if they feel this is in the best interest of themselves or their families. This is a decision that should be made between each person and their medical doctor. Statements referenced in this program have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. So with that being said, just definitely want everyone to know that I am here to support you in any way that I can in regards to the immune system, and I definitely want you to feel comfortable to come in and ask questions and to be able to feel empowered and to have that information. But that when we're looking at whether to vaccinate or not to vaccinate, or to get the flu shot or not to get the flu shot, it's a very individual choice that should be made with your medical doctor. But regardless of which direction you go, it is critical that the immune system is strong, because the entire basis of getting a vaccine or a flu shot is the idea that it can stimulate your own immune system to create antibodies against that flu or virus or whatever thing you're trying to avoid. And so if you don't have the immune system support in place, then even if you get those things, you're not going to be able to have an effective result. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear for everyone, that strengthening the immune system is not intended, and I have no intention of saying that you should choose one or the other, but more to be able to let you feel empowered and be able to recognize how important the immune system is no matter what choice is being made. Okay, so with no further ado, we are going to begin today's presentation. Feel free to chat in if you have any questions, and then we will come back on for question and answer at the end as well.
Welcome to Immune Support Made Simple. We're excited to get together and be able to help support and talk through natural support that you can use during cold and flu season. So what you will learn in this class is how to approach the immune system, what the immune system is in more simple terms, how to build a strong immune system, how colds and viruses react and how we often combat them, good old-fashioned home remedies and recipes, and supplemental essentials that can be helpful, as well as a question and answer at the end if you would like to stay on for that. So the immune system made simple. Basically, in a nutshell, when we have a strong immune system and we're doing the things to preventatively support our immune system and helping it to function optimally when bacteria or molds or viruses come into the body, we are able to deflect them, combat them, and bounce back quickly. When our immune system does not have everything that it needs, then we have a weak immunity. And when bacteria, mold, or viruses come into the system, we often come down with them fairly quickly. And they linger for a long time. We're not able to bounce back quickly. And a lot of times our symptoms are more severe. And so when we look at having a strong immunity, it does not mean that you won't get anything. It does not mean you won't have symptoms, but when you do, you'll come back from them and you'll recover much more quickly. You'll feel a much more mild case of those things. And so when we look at something like COVID-19 or the things that are going around, that's why there are more severe symptoms and why people with comorbidity or pre-existing conditions are struggling more, because those immunities are weaker, so you're not going to bounce back as quickly. Where when we are looking at how to strengthen the immunity and supporting our health in those preventative ways, then we're able to recover much more quickly. So how does the immune system work? You have two lines of defense. You have your first line of defense and your second line of defense. First line of defense are going to be things like your eyes. When something enters into your eye, you get blinking, you have tears that start to come forth to try and get those out. Skin is a huge structural barrier, uses sweat. Also, you have tons of bacteria on your skin trying to help alleviate things from entering the body. Respiratory, when something enters the lungs, we typically have a coughing reaction, or if it comes up the nose, a sneezing reaction. You've probably noticed when this happens a lot of times, you'll begin to have mucus coming from the nose or phlegm coming up the throat, trying to get those things out of the system. The GI tract is a big one. You have your stomach acidity that stays at a very low acidity, so that if anything enters into the throat or into the stomach through food, through drink, through anything else, that the body tries to kill that off through destroying it with your stomach acid. But if by any chance something gets past that first line of defense, then your second line of defense comes in, which are the organs of the immune system. We're not going to get into this too much, but I just wanted to help you be aware of the different organs that come into play in that second line of defense. And these are the organs that we're really working hard to support and strengthen through our immune support and our preventative measures. The tonsils, bone marrow, spleen, intestines, thymus, lymph nodes, all of these organs, appendix, are working hard once something enters the system to come together in a unified way to be able to support the body. So you can see a lot of systems come together to function as the immune system, which is why it is critical to have those vital nutrients in place. So this is an awesome video that I feel like really helps illustrate and support the idea of what's actually happening when we get the going on. Two things that I really like to point out is how quickly and how sneaky viruses are when they come into the body. They are very undercover and a lot of times very effective at sneaking their way in. Second thing is that when your immune system is strong and functioning, then it will keep things in check. And so no matter how quickly, no matter how many are duplicating and replicating and growing, if our immune system is strong, it will identify those and be able to keep them in check. So it is critical to build a strong immune system. So our little wide scroll here, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That could not be more true, especially when it comes to your immune system. Our immune system is something that is very challenging to get into a healthy and successful place all of a sudden from an acute phase. But when we do it preventatively, it can do amazing things to help us stay healthy and strong. So some of these things we'll be talking about is proper nutrients and nutrition, whole food supplements, getting enough sleep, exercise, meditation to reduce stress. So fuel your body with proper nutrients. Each system and organ in the body has specific mineral and nutrient requirements in order to effectively function. So one of the things that a lot of times people don't completely connect is that every single system in your body has to have certain nutrients to effectively function. Whether it's your eyes, your bowel movements, your liver, your arms, your joints, they all have their own set of nutrients that are required. So when we're looking at the body, and specifically in this case, the immune system, there are specific nutrients that are required to be able to help support it in functioning properly. But feeding your body proper nutrition is critical. Grains and vegetables are vital in providing an increase in essential vitamins and minerals. They trigger beta receptors, which they're finding more and more are throughout the entire body, that help regulate the innate immune system. A lot of times greens and vegetables are one of the most difficult for people to get in because they're not used to cooking them. They're not sure how to prepare them. It takes time. It's not as convenient. So oftentimes using a greens or a meal replacement powder can greatly increase the essential minerals that are coming into the body, even if you're not able to cook these on a regular basis. Fruits also are very important for bringing in antioxidant properties, very important for additional fiber and nutrients. A lot of this is where you're going to get those high amounts of vitamin C or things like that, where your greens are going to be higher in those minerals. Increased fiber ensures a healthy and complete elimination. This fiber piece is critical because fiber is one of the number one nutrients that Americans are deficient in, and it's critical for healthy digestion. Why we care about this for the immune system is about 80% of your immune system is derived from your digestive tract. So if your digestion is really struggling, that is also going to impact the immune function. Then undenatured and clean proteins provide essential amino acid building blocks for the body. Our essential amino acids are critical because they are essential. They are things that we cannot make on our own. They're things that have to come in through the body. And usually protein sources are our most effective way of getting these in. But the key is making sure that they are undenatured. Undenatured means that they're not overcooked and that they've not been overly processed, where those essential amino acids will break down. So a lot of times this can be an issue when people or patients are working hard to eat clean meats and to get in these essential amino acids, but they're overcooking them and they start to break down and destroy, and then they don't get that full amount. The last major nutrient is fat, and fat was worth giving its own slide because there's been lots of confusion around fats. Oils and fats are essential for the cell membrane, the brain, digestion, weight loss, sustaining energy. We cannot survive without fat. But unfortunately, there has been lots of confusion and information spread about fat that says that low-fat food myth tells us that low-fat and processed foods are healthier. And this just simply is not the case. Normal fat in food is part of what makes it taste good. So when they make low-fat foods, they replace that with sugar. Oftentimes, high fructose corn syrup, which is very hard on the body to add flavor. So you're replacing that fat with sugar, which in truth, more sugar and carbohydrates can lead to more calories and weight gain. So you're going to gain more weight. It's going to be harder on your system when you're eating a low-fat diet than it would be eating a diet high in fat. So when you see low-fat processed foods, you really want to pause and think high sugar and potential weight gain. This is one of those tricky things that food marketing does, and you have to be careful because of that. So more than looking at the fat content, you want to look at the ingredient list. If sugar is one of the top ingredients, then it's something you definitely want to avoid. So instead of avoiding fat, it's really understanding how to remove the bad fats and replace those fats with good fats. eating healthy fats do not make you fat. It is only the unhealthy fats and really sugar and carbohydrates more than anything that are going to create that. So we want to avoid processed fats and trans fats. That's a lot of what is going to be used in fast foods. It's going to be your oils such as soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oils. All of these type of oils are going to go rancid in the body, cause a toxic burden, and are not good for you. But when you're eating the right type of fats, it is life-changing, the impact that can have on the body. So some of those examples of healthy fats are going to be coconut oil, avocado, grass-fed butter. One of my very favorite butters is called Kerrygold butter. Ghee is going to be butter that they've taken out the dairy components. Wild fish, olive oil, seeds, nuts, eggs, all of these, even bacon. You want to be careful and make sure that you're looking at one that hasn't been preserved with nitrates or nitrites. But all of these are foundational, very healthy, very supported, and critical fats for our body. So what are the right oils and fats? We just talked about some of them, but this is a fun acronym, BACON, which will help you focus on adding healthy oils and fats into your daily nutrition. So B for butter or ghee, A for avocado or avocado oil, C for coconut oil, cream or milk, O for olive oil and olives, and N for nut oils. All very healthy fats. It's also a quick guideline to help support you in understanding and knowing how to cook with these oils. Now, olive oil is a little bit controversial. A lot of people say it's completely fine to cook at higher degrees. Other people say it's better to keep at the medium oils. But when you're cooking or sauteing at high degrees, avocado oil, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, sesame oil are all going to be great, healthy, beneficial oils. When you're looking at nut and seed oils, like your sunflower oils or safflower oils, things that are like that, a lot of times in processed food, they're cooking with those. And the problem with those oils at high temperatures is they break down and go rancid in the body. So a healthy oil can turn to an unhealthy oil really quickly under heat. So if it's a nut or a seed oil, you really want to use those more for your dressings because they're not going to be great heated, but can be excellent for the body in a salad or in a sauce or dressing that is not being heated. So when it comes to family nutrition, I know that affordability and simplicity is key. So one of my favorite ways of getting nutrition into the body is through enhanced smoothies, because a smoothie takes anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes to make. You can get all sorts of things into it, and it's a great way to start the day with those essential nutrients. So coming up with a primary nutritional foundation, supplements can be a great way to get supplements, proteins, oils into the body. Finding a good organic meal replacement or greens powder, and a healthy and clean whey or veggie protein, adding some fiber in if you're not getting enough fiber into the diet, adding in oils such as olive oil or fish oil to support the cells and the brain. So great way to get those in. Frozen foods, excellent for getting in a base for your smoothies and getting in those fruits that higher our vitamin C. Also, looking at the most affordable way to do that, Costco is an excellent source for organic blends because it's more cost effective. And this is something that can be very beneficial to keep an eye out on any sales no matter where you're at. Whenever fruits or frozen fruits go on sale, it's a great time to purchase extra amounts of them because that can definitely help keep things more affordable. But Costco keeps a pretty good price all of the time. Then greens, this is hands down one of my favorite things to implement, and one of the areas that I get some of the most positive feedback from patients that it's made a huge difference for them. So what you do with the greens is, if you're going to Costco, they have a super greens mix. If you're just at a regular grocery store, in the salad section, the very bottom shelf, they have a large box of smoothie greens what you're looking for is one that has kale, chard, and spinach. So you'll get the entire box or the large bag, you'll bring it home, and you're going to steam this entire bag or box worth of greens. You don't want to cook them because you want to keep a lot of those nutrients intact, but you want to just lightly steam them until they begin to wilt. Now this has two purposes to it. When you do this light steaming, it actually breaks off some of the chemical component on them that makes them more digestible, or some people have a harder time digesting raw food. Then once you do this, it actually starts to concentrate them. And so you'll take that whole steamed box or bag and put it into the blender, add a little bit of water if needed, and then you're going to blend that up. So this entire large box or bag is going to concentrate down to probably under half of your blender. For me, it's about a third of our blender. Is made into this thick green sludge. And once you have it all blended up, you're going to take some ice cube trays, pour it into those ice cube trays, freeze that, and then you can pop them out and you have a bag of these greens cubes. You can also add things like ginger or different herbs. You can add things like cilantro, which are great for getting heavy metals out of the system, parsleys. So you can kind of mess around with this and make these extra nutritional green cubes. And what's amazing is that one of these cubes, once it's concentrated down, is almost the equivalent of a handful of greens that you would put into your smoothie. So you're able to get in way more greens at one time. So if you're making a single serving, you can put in anywhere from 1 to 3 cubes and get an incredible amount of green nutrition in first thing in the morning. Or if you're making it for your family, I use more like 5 to 7 cubes to make sure that we're all getting a serving of those nutrients to start the day. Also, enhancements can be nut or coconut milks, help to create more of a smooth flavor, creamy texture, and can also bring out a lot of the flavors in the smoothie and are a great source of fats as well. So I wanted to put a recipe up of kind of day-to-day what I do for our smoothie every morning to give you an idea. This is for a family of 5. Do 2 cups of fruit, 5 to 7 green cubes, half cup of cubed avocado. Avocado is so good for you, and they don't have it all the time, but currently at Costco they have the cubed avocado for an excellent price. This is something that I also see go on sale at stores, so keeping an eye out for that. A greens powder, an almond milk or coconut milk, collagen peptide powder, an Orgain superfood probiotics powder, naked protein, and about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil and MCT oil each. So when we're looking at this, you can see there is a ton of nutrients. We have our basic nutritional profile of 32 grams of sugar, 18 grams of fiber, 79 grams of protein, 55 grams of fat that will then be divided between the 5 of us. But that does not even begin to include the amount of vitamins and nutrients that are coming into this. So a really excellent way to support the system and sustain that energy first thing in the morning. So really letting food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food is critical. There is no substitute for healthy eating from a preventative and immune supportive way. So when we're looking at whole food supplements, the key is getting whole food supplements. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but when we're bringing in immune nutrients, they need to be the actual food sources because a chemical compound is not going to support the immune system in the same way. So there's several nutrients that come into play with the immune system, but I really wanted to highlight top 3 that are going to be critically important. Vitamin C is kind of your everyday immune superhero. It has an impact on both the innate and acquired immune response against infections. When we're talking about those different layers of the immune system, vitamin C is critical for all of them. The truth is that your body it is not capable of effectively fighting off infection, combating flus, colds, bacteria, and viruses without vitamin C. So this nutrient is critical for supporting your immune system. Vitamin D has kind of a twofold benefit that highlights and comes into play here. Reduces the risk of viral infections such as influenza, pneumonia related to viral infections, and acute respiratory tract infections. So it's going to be really important, especially with COVID-19 going around, because it's very important for the respiratory. But one of the huge components and supportive factors of vitamin D is that it helps transport calcium, another critical nutrient for the immune system. And so there is actually some debate over whether it's the actual vitamin D that supports the immune system so effectively, or if it's the vitamin D transporting the calcium and making the calcium bioavailable to the immune system that makes the biggest difference. But the two nutrients that we get when we adjunct the vitamin D into the system is the vitamin D itself, as well as the calcium, which is a critical mineral for the immune system. Lastly, we're highlighting zinc. This trace mineral is crucial for proper functioning of the immune system as well, and works synergistically with vitamin C and D to support both innate and adaptive immunities. One of the really cool things about the calcium and the zinc is that we have a couple of functional tests that we can do in clinic on you that take about 3 or 5 minutes to be able to test these levels. So if you're not sure how your zinc and calcium are doing, come into the clinic and just swing by my office and we can check on these two levels to make sure that your immune system has what it needs to support it effectively. Sleep. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep is so important because the immune system is most proactive and effective during sleep. During the rest of the day, you have so much going on in your body that your immune system is not really running at its highest effectivity. But as soon as you go to sleep, that is when it goes to work. And so if you are sick, this is the biggest reason why getting more sleep helps, is because that's when your immune system goes into hyperdrive. So if you begin feeling like you're getting sick, or you're wanting to prevent yourself from getting sick, getting in those 7 to 9 hours is very important. So to help with this, because it is a struggle for everyone, establishing a bedtime routine can be very helpful. I personally have an alarm for bedtime. That I have a personal commitment that when that alarm goes off, doesn't matter what's going on, I need to shut down and get ready and go to bed. Because I know as a mom especially, this can be kind of that critical time of getting some alone time, getting the things done that you haven't been able to get done during the day, but it still is so important for your immune system and for your health that you get enough sleep. Also having an electronic shut-off timer and eliminating all light. Working on your computer right before bed, or playing on your phone, or going through social media, doing all of those things can be very disruptive to the brain and to supporting your body and shutting down. So putting those things away, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour before bed can make a big difference in the quality of sleep that you get. And then once you're going to sleep, doing your best to eliminate all light will also help you get deeper, more restful sleep. Daily exercise. Important to note here that moderate intensity exercise improves immune function. Exercise reduces risk and severity of respiratory viral infection. Very important right now for supporting that respiratory health. And acute moderate exercise stresses the immune system less than prolonged high intensity sessions. So the deal with exercise is you don't want to wear your body down too much. You want to have more of a moderate exercise rather than, running a whole half marathon. You really want to give your body that balanced exercise to help it move the lymphatic system through, but not straining it or stressing it too much at the same time. One of the big deterrents I hear a lot of times from patients is they don't have enough time, or it feels like this overwhelming thing they have to get in, but it doesn't need to be so intense. Even just taking a walk outside around the block, parking further away in the parking lot so that you have to walk a few extra steps going in and out of the store. At our house, me and my 3 kids have a little exercise routine every morning where we run up and down the stairs 5 to 10 times. We do some jumping jacks. We do some push-ups and planks. We run around the kitchen island in our kitchen for a few laps. Nothing crazy, but it gets everyone's blood flowing, gets us moving. If we don't do our exercise routine, then we do a dance party. Put on 4 or 5 songs and just have fun and dance your heart out, and it's a great way to get in that exercise. So it doesn't have to be something that's so structured and rigid, but just getting the body moving is very helpful for strengthening the immune system. Also, yoga for the whole family is another fun way of getting everyone engaged and moving. Each one of these poses has incredible health benefits. Triangle pose, Trikonasana, can improve circulation in your body, may aid in digestion, reduce blood pressure, improve concentration and balance. It calms your mind and reduces stress. Utkatasana chair pose can improve your strength, energy and balance, stimulates your heart, and massages the abdominal organs as you engage your core. Helps you stay energized when you practice this pose regularly. It does not take much time in chair pose for you to feel your body engaging and working. Also, Bhujangasana, cobra pose, can stimulate your digestive system and circulation, opens up your heart and lungs, helps to relieve stress, increases flexibility of your spine, alleviates your mood, and elevates, stimulates your core, and boosts your energy. So such amazing benefits from doing yoga. And again, one of the incredible advantages that we have now is YouTube, which has amazing guided courses for all exercise, but especially yoga. You can find a yoga workout that is 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long, or you can increase that if needed. But again, going back to that idea that any amount is going to prove beneficial for you and your family, and it doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount. And meditation to reduce stress. Sometimes meditation is kind of this big buzzword that almost makes people nervous. It doesn't need to be, again, an overwhelming or intense practice. Spending even a few minutes in meditation every day can restore inner calm and peace and have dramatic results. This is something that I've personally seen in my own life that really does have a profound impact. Meditation helps focus our attention and decrease the stream of jumbled and often negative thoughts. Right now, we're under a lot of stress with a lot of the things that we're combating. And to be honest, until I started meditating more consistently on a daily basis, I didn't even realize the amount of jumbled and negative thoughts and repetitive patterns that I was perpetuating every day. And so when you start to recognize and bring awareness to some of those things, really it can have a dramatic effect on calming that down, starting to shift some of those negative thought patterns, and helping to bring that calm and peace. Meditation has also shown to be helpful in reducing the effects of illness. The reason for this is when we are under these high amounts of stress, when we are constantly wearing our bodies down and we are thinking about these 100 things that we need to get done, and the negative thoughts are going through our mind, if we have fears, then it stresses the body on a physical level as well. So when you can take just a few minutes to just take pause, to bring yourself back to a grounded place, to restore that calm and peace internally, your body then has a much more effective chance at combating stress and flus and viruses as they come into the system. So when we look at those preventative ways, then it's helping to understand how colds and viruses are actually functioning in the system. Common colds and virus statistics. On any given year, more than 200 types of common cold viruses come through and we are exposed to. Americans suffer 1 billion colds per year. Now, this is part of that fear factor that has come into play, is a lot of times this isn't highlighted. But now with COVID circulating, this has become much more highlighted, much more propagated, and it makes people feel very, very nervous when this has been a common thing that has been going on year after year. that these colds and viruses are going to circulate through. Children on average get 6 to 10 colds per year. Children typically are going to get more colds and viruses than an adult will because they're still building up their immune system. Part of building up an immunity to viruses and bacteria is coming in contact with them, the body getting to experience them, and beginning to build up an immunity to them. So children will typically get more colds and flus each year. Adults average 2 to 4 colds per year, and you're going to see an increase in women because they often are the ones spending so much time with their children that are getting some of these colds and flus. They're going to be increased when people are confined in indoor environments that will promote spreading. So this is going to be a little bit of a challenge right now because that's where most of us are, is indoors. And common cold viruses survive better when humidity is low. We're going to talk more about the impact of humidifiers and humidity, but Utah is a place that humidity is very low during the winter months, and so we've got to take special note of trying to increase that humidity. So when we look at the two approaches to colds and viruses, we've got the mainstream medical approach, and then we'll talk about the holistic approach. This approach is going to use over-the-counter prescriptions to alleviate symptoms. However, it also suppresses the body's natural ability to fight off bacteria and viruses. So the nature of using a mainstream approach is that it gets rid of the symptoms, which everyone loves. We don't like feeling sick, but when it does this, it doesn't do it from a root level. It's not doing it in a way that is immune supportive. None of these examples, antihistamines, anti-fever medications, multi-symptom formulas, antibiotics, flu shot, or vaccines, none of these are working at a root level or have any sort of immune support. They are just working symptomatically to suppress and get rid of the symptoms, but they're not stimulating or helping the immune system to overcome these issues. And so what happens is that you'll typically have a large reoccurrence because nothing is addressing the actual immune function. Antibiotics are a big one that has become a pretty extensive issue I see in clinic, so I wanted to take a minute to just touch on that. Antibiotics cannot treat colds and flus. They are not effective on viruses. So a lot of times when we get really sick, we just want it to go away. We go in and ask for an antibiotic. Many times we're even given it, but if it is a virus, it is not going to be effective. Antibiotics have been overused, allowing pathogenic bacteria to survive antibiotic treatment. What this is meaning is that because we use antibiotics so frequently, it's actually, instead of strengthening our immune system, it is strengthening these bacteria and viruses that are coming. So we're creating superbugs because now they know they have to combat such an overuse of antibiotics. Antibacterial soaps and cleaners have not been proven to reduce bacteria in hand washing or clean surfaces over other cleaning solutions. So this is a big one, and it goes hand in hand with the next bullet point that antibiotics also kill beneficial bacteria that regulate and support our immunity. So a big, awesome way to help highlight this is if you've ever used your dish towels when you're cleaning your dishes or your counters or things like that, and you use an antibacterial soap or cleaner, which is huge right now. So take note of this fact. And then within a couple days, it gets this like really gross, metallic-y, like strong smell that even when you touch it, it gets on your hands and so gross. So I hated this and was just like, man, I only had this thing for a couple days. Like, why is it so gross? And then as I started to go through this really significant transition of using everything natural, this one day I noticed that when I stopped using the antibacterial soap and was using a more natural dish soap, that my dish towels stopped smelling. And then I went over to a family member's house, and all of a sudden I recognized that their dish towel had that smell again, and a light bulb went off. That when you use antibacterial soaps or antibiotics, it wipes out all of the beneficial bacteria as well that keep things in check. And as soon as they're wiped out, then those bad bacteria go rampant and you get an overgrowth of bad bacteria so quickly. So then I full on did the experiment at home with antibacterial soap versus a cleaner that did not have antibacterial properties. And it proved true that as soon as the antibacterial soap was used, that bad bacteria would overtake significantly more quickly. Where when something that wasn't antibacterial was used, the good bacteria did a very successful job of keeping those things in check. So right now, there's such a promoting of antibacterial everything, but what's really happening is you're destroying the good bacteria that keeps things in check, and you're actually doing a disservice to their immune system. So washing your hands, great. Cleaning things, excellent. But being careful not to use antibacterial everything, because that's actually going to do more harm than good when it comes to regulating the immunity and keeping the good bacteria and fighters intact so that they can help combat the negative bacteria. So when we look at a holistic approach, this approach uses vital nutrients, herbs, and natural remedies to strengthen the immune system and enhance the body's innate ability to fight off bacteria and viruses. So it's going to use things like herbal nutritional supplementation, soups, teas, and tinctures, homeopathy, clay and other detoxifiers, also oils can be put here. Things that are going to stimulate and support the immune system in overcoming rather than just suppressing the symptom. The benefit of this is that every time you do this approach, it strengthens your immune system stronger and stronger so that you get more and more of an effective result and are able to combat these things more successfully. I've loved watching this with my oldest child because it was her health actually that got me into this path. So she was very sick when she was little, and as we've done this intense work of trying to strengthen her immune system, it's amazing to watch the older she's getting. She's about 7.5 now, that she comes in contact with a lot of these viruses and bacteria and how quickly her system recovers. And just watching firsthand how the system works and how progressively it becomes stronger and stronger as you use a natural approach. So I wanted to touch a moment on homeopathic remedies because a lot of people are not super familiar with homeopathics, but it uses the principle of similars. So what it does is kind of the same idea of a flu shot or a vaccine in the sense that it uses extremely small doses of the virus or the bacteria to help stimulate the immune system in a positive way, except for a homeopathic comes without any negative toxic effects. So it's going to work prophylactically to help support you in building your immune system. So as we come into the cold and flu season, if you can start taking a homeopathic remedy for cold and flus, it's actually going to start stimulating the immune system before you even catch something so that it's kind of on alert as soon as something enters the body. Once an illness is active in the body, homeopathy can lessen symptoms as well as the length of the illness, which is awesome. And it creates a compounding effect when combined with nutrition and herbal support. This is something that's important to note because we actually received an email from a concerned patient this week that a lot of times people will use an approach, but they only use one side of it. And when you're using things from a holistic and from a natural perspective, it's very important that you're covering all of your bases. Just using homeopathy likely will not be enough to support your system. Just using nutrition or only using an herb or only using oils usually will not give the body everything that it needs to strengthen and support a healthy immune system. It oftentimes needs to be a unified approach. So when I look at a whole food remedy and my top recommendation when symptoms arise, Conjuplex is definitely the product that I'm going to go to. It's primary product for acute cold, flu, and congestion, so the first sign of any sort of symptom. It combines whole foods containing vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, thymus support, which is one of your main immune glands, and ribonucleic acid, many more foods to help combat and support the immune system. So it basically has all of those foundational pieces that the immune system needs to be able to support it as soon as it starts functioning. When taken at the first sign of symptoms, Conjuplex can significantly shorten the time sick and in many instances even prevent sickness from taking hold altogether. So wonderful product to have in your house, because the quicker you start taking it, the more effective your immune system kicks in and the better results you're going to get. I'm a huge proponent for education. So really looking at kind of the pros and cons of getting a flu shot vaccine versus whole food support. When we look at what's actually in a flu shot, you're going to get the very low amount of the virus that's going to stimulate, but it comes with a lot of other things like mercury or formaldehyde or several other chemical toxins that are actually going to be harder on the body and on the immune system. And then when you look at the insert, potential side effects are things like gastrointestinal disorders, actual influenza type illnesses, so getting the influenza anyways, metabolism and nutritional disorders. So a lot of things that I'm seeing in clinic on a day-to-day basis are the immediate side effects of getting a flu or vaccine. When we look at a whole food support, you're going to have things like organic dried buckwheat or organ meats that are going to be the ingredients, nothing that's going to hinder the immune system. Also, the potential side effects are all going to be positive, healthy and strong immune support, helping to support the adrenal, the stress response, and the immune glands, supporting the creation of new cells. But whether you are for or against, pro, wanting to get a vaccine or a flu shot or not, one of the things that is important to note is that a flu shot or a vaccine does not have any immune support. So if you take that approach, it is critical that you're doing the things to strengthen and support the immune system, or there's no point in taking it in the first place. Because if you're taking it to stimulate the immune system and you don't have an immune system intact, it is not going to help. So no matter what approach you're taking, it is critical and vital that the immune support is there and that you're strengthening your immune system so that it can respond. Next, we'll go over a few good old-fashioned home remedies and recipes. First, the 6 sensational home remedies. Lemons are amazing. Lemons are one of the things that have been used for the longest period of time. They were often used back when people didn't have amazing supplements, that they would do a few drops of lemon in someone's mouth every hour to 2 hours to keep them through the night when a virus or bacteria had taken hold because of the vitamin C content, the acidity. Lemons are amazing. Apple cider vinegar, great for acidifying. Ginger has many properties, but especially with what's going on right now, respiratory support is one of them. Garlic is incredible, antibacterial and antiviral. Garlic essentially is like a safe antibiotic. It is one of the most amazing herbs that is selective. So it'll kill the bad bacteria, but it will not disturb the good bacteria. So very amazing in that way. Humidifiers, which we're going to get into on the next slide, super important for helping to decrease the impact of bacteria and viruses in the air. And laughter. We are under a lot of stress right now. There's a lot of fear going on, and laughter is one of the best antidotes. Appreciate those small and simple things that make you smile. Laugh with your kids, laugh with each other. Do not let these times prevent you from enjoying and appreciating life. So, benefits of a humidifier. Dry air can dry out skin, hair, lips, throats, etc. This causes irritation until moisture is restored. So increasing the humidity in your home can help eliminate the dry air that can irritate the passageways in the nose and throat and support your respiratory health. Humidified air can relieve the discomfort of colds and flus. Using humidifier in the home can help relieve a stuffy nose and can help break up mucus. So you can cough it up. Poor humidity levels help to proper humidity levels help to reduce the number of nosebleeds that are often prone during the winter months. And during the dry winter months, keeping humidity levels between 40 and 50% in the home makes the air feel warmer, and this can also help save on your utility bills. But another note on this 40 to 50% humidity. This was a game changer for me when I saw this study. They did a study where they took 2 classrooms. One, they kept the humidity up in the classroom. The other one, they did not. And what they found was the room that had the humidity had a decrease of cold and flu viruses contracted by 40 to 50%. That's a huge reduction. And the reason for that is that cold viruses and bacteria seek out moisture to thrive. When there is no humidity in the air, the closest moisture for them to seek out is you. So when the humidity is in the air, they're going to attach to a lot of those moisture elements, and that's going to prevent them from attaching to you. So humidifiers, huge benefit. And then humidified air also can improve sleep quality. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on each of these recipes, but I wanted to give them to you. Lemon ginger cider vinegar infusion. This is like a tea. Great thing to implement during the cold and flu season. Just taking water, freshly squeezed lemon juice, raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, tablespoon of honey, and then some fresh ginger, or you can use a ginger powder, and making your own tea out of this. This is like awesome immune boosting support, especially great if you do start to feel like a sore throat or any symptoms are starting to come on. Excellent ingredients to have in your house all the time during cold and flu season. Soothe your throat and a simple cough syrup. Right now we have tons of resources, and so a lot of times people won't be taking the time to make their own cough syrup, but it's always helpful to know how to do these things if you're ever in a position where you're not able to get to the store. Find a natural or holistic cough syrup, or if you want something that is really clean and minimal ingredients, you're just taking chopped onions and honey. You can either leave them overnight, or you can simmer them on the lowest setting for an hour and then use the water to kind of help with the consistency. Bone broth. Bone broth is huge and incredibly important for digestive health. Again, going back to that recognition that digestion is critical for immune system. Contains healing amino acids and minerals to boost the immune system. Great way to get in a lot of those minerals. Can ease upper respiratory symptoms. Excellent to drink when you're starting to feel some of that setting in the lungs. Aids in healthy inflammation response. When the inflammation is decreased, the immune system can work more effectively. Stimulates cell and liver detoxification, so it's going to help to remove those toxins from the body, and restores the gut lining and supports growth of healthy bacteria. So when we're using bone broths in our soups or even drinking it on its own, definitely going to be immune supportive. Health benefits of grains and seeds, getting in some of those good whole food, healthy grains, steel cut oats, great source of fiber, helps balance blood sugar levels and protein. Quinoa is going to contain all 9 essential amino acids, so a great way to get those essential amino acids in. Good source of minerals, magnesium, potassium, zinc, and iron. Also high in fiber and protein. Hemp seeds, high in healthy fats, supports heart and brain health, reduce body inflammation. Chia seeds, nutrient dense, excellent source of fiber, high in omega-3 fatty acids. One of my favorite breakfasts that I do around this time of year, all year long, but it's great when it's cold, is breakfast with a bang. A balanced, nutritious breakfast is an excellent way to start the day and give your brain and body the energy it needs to perform optimally. This hot cereal is loaded with incredible health benefits, easy to make, and child approved. You're just going to combine the steel cut oats, the quinoa, hemp seeds, chia seeds. I don't even use sugar in mine. I just rely on either the dates or figs. You can add your fats in there, coconut oil and butter, vanilla, and then your water. Also, I've been starting to add a protein powder to mine just to help increase the protein even more. Excellent way to support and start the day. Another fun kind of pearl in your toolbox is barley water. Barley water is super, super easy to make and very immune supportive. You just take pearled barley, about a cup, in a mason jar, quart-sized mason jar, cup of the barley, fill the rest up with water and soak it and leave it in the fridge overnight. And then you drain the water, save the water, and then you discard the barley, or you can cook with it if you'd like. But barley is an incredible source of vitamins and nutrients. So excellent source of bioavailable calcium. We talked about how important calcium is for the immune system. Also other vitamins and nutrients. Known to help with anything from teething, allergies, infections, gastritis, stomach ulcers, colitis, anxiousness, even insomnia. Improves digestion and removes toxins. A lot of this is due to it having so many minerals that help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings us out of fight or flight and back into rest or digest. Last, we look at our supplement essentials. What this is saying is that basically in America, they passed a law that was signed by President Clinton in 1994 that supplements are not regulated by the government. So the only one that is responsible for regulating their supplement and the quality that goes into it is the company making it. So most important to recognize that not all supplements are created equal. When we're looking at natural versus synthetic, it's very important that your supplements are food-based. You can see here in this visual that a natural vitamin C has so much more life, has so much more components to it than just ascorbic acid. This is a big one because vitamin C is so critical. Ascorbic acid does not have the immune supportive components needed. So when you're looking at a label, if we look at this one at the right, vitamin C, 500 milligrams, that is ascorbic acid. What you're really looking at is the proprietary blend. And this one, there's only 13 milligrams, which is substantially less than the 500 milligrams of ascorbic acid. If we look at this label on the left, this is what you're aiming for, is a whole food blend where the vitamin C content says 17 milligrams, so the ascorbic acid is very low. And then the proprietary blend for the vitamin C, we have 595 milligrams of food-based vitamin C. So whenever you're looking at nutrients, you want to make sure that you're getting enough of the food-based and that it's not a different product. So for me, I'm always going to go back to Standard Process and MediHerb. I wanted to show you this so you could see what a dramatic difference it is when you're looking at supplements that are not being regulated. All of these supplements, when you look at the species, we're using the same type of echinacea. But then when you go over to this section that says total AA, that's the alkalamides or the therapeutic property. MediHerb was 3 times higher in its therapeutic property than any of the other companies. And so only taking one MediHerb capsule, the very next best one, you needed 3.5 to equal the amount of therapeutic support. And the second best company, you needed 16 tablets or capsules to equal one of MediHerbs. So I have always gotten the best results with this company, which is why I started using them. But when I started looking into them more and understanding this, it was like a game changer. I will never recommend another company because you're actually getting what you're paying for when you're using Standard Process and MediHerb. So again, when we look at supplement essentials, the ones that I would recommend, Conjuplex, definitely, it's a 3-in-1 product. Basically has all your immune support for acute immune needs. Now, when we look at what to do preventatively, that's where Immuplex comes into play. Immuplex is what I often recommend is kind of like your cold and flu season multivitamin. A lot of times I'll say get rid of your multivitamin that you typically use and use Immuplex during immune system season because it has all of the support that you need to help strengthen your immune system preventatively to help alleviate and prevent you from getting sick in the first place. And if you do come in contact with something, being able to overcome that. Also can supercharge that, adding in Cataplex F, your vitamin D. Cod liver oil is amazing fish oil at this time of year because it has naturally occurring vitamin D and vitamin A, so excellent source. Right now, we wanted to support everyone that joined this class today. So on your next visit to Now Chiro, mention this class and you can receive 50% off of your next immune product. So definitely take advantage of that. I also wanted to quickly note some of the other things that we can help with. Just want to make sure that you know that whenever it comes to a disturbance or a hindrance on the body, please give us a call. Come in, ask questions, because there's so many things that we can do to help support you. Echinacea is an amazing herb to adjunct with your nutrient support to help support the immune system. Andrographis, if I'm ever not getting over it with my nutritional support, then I adjunct Andrographis, and man, that wipes things out quicker than you can believe. We have different herbs for respiratory support. If it's starting to get into the lungs or you're starting to get a cough, please let us know, because there's other things that we can add to be able to help support those things. So in review and in closing, we went over how to understand the immune system in more simple terms, how to build a strong immune system, cold and viruses and how they interact in the body, good old-fashioned home remedies and recipes, some ways that you can incorporate healthy nutrition into the diet, and some of the supplement essentials that I would recommend.
All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pause that, come back on, and let you know how much I appreciate everyone coming on today. And definitely would love to go into some question and answer. I want to reiterate before we start into question and answer again that using nutrition and herbs and all sorts of things natural can be so supportive for the immune system, but in no way is it a replacement for vaccinating or the flu shot if that is what you choose to do. So in no way are we suggesting that people should not do those things if it is in the best interest of their family, and that is something to definitely consult your doctor about. One other thing I wanted to mention before we get into question and answer that actually showed up in my inbox 2 days ago, so I'd already recorded the presentation, was that the FDA has just made FDA declares homeopathic medicine illegal. And so there's groups going out right now. I'll send you all an email after today's presentation if you would like to get more information on how to try to reverse that from happening. But really taking note with our natural and holistic remedies that there's a lot going on that's trying to prevent those things from being in place. And homeopathics really are something that are critically important from a holistic and natural perspective, because they are going to really help in the same way that a vaccine or a flu shot could in stimulating the immune system. They're one of the safest things that you could do. In this report that they said, in a review of the evidence of adverse events related to homeopathy, which included data from 12 European countries, the US, Mexico, India, Israel, and Brazil, so all large countries, between 1978 and 2010, found a total of just 1,159 adverse effects. So in essentially 32 years, that's insanely low amount of adverse effects with profound benefits. So definitely making sure during this wild and crazy time that if you do feel like natural and a holistic approach is a valuable approach to take, to be committed and supportive and helping to make sure that we maintain those rights to be able to use those things. So without further ado, we will get into question and answer. Please feel free to type in anything into the chat. If you decide to bell out now, I am so grateful for you guys attending. And so let me go on and start answering some of these questions. First, we have one from Heather. My husband has a sinus infection right now. Would that sinuses wouldn't be good to get him? Okay, so definitely. When we look at sinus infections, a lot of times that has a impact with the acidity level in the body too. So doing some of those natural remedies can also be helpful to be able to drop the acidity. So using like things like apple cider vinegar and things like that. But definitely the Sinus Forte can be very beneficial for helping to clear that out. Anytime there's an acute infection, though, you definitely still want to go back to those foundations of Conjuplex, just because when we're looking at overcoming any sort of immune suppressed component in the body, you have to have that vitamin C, that calcium, vitamin D. Those things have to be in place in order to combat that. But absolutely, there's so many things we can do. And just as a side note on that, sinus infections, ear infections, yeast infections are all things that really do not do well with antibiotics. It usually almost pushes them deeper into the system, and you'll have more reoccurring symptoms of that. But there's amazing things we can do to help get the body back on track. Another question, do we have a recommendation for good humidifiers? Absolutely. Pure Guardian is the name of the humidifier that I would definitely recommend. The one that was on our picture has silver lined in the lining of the humidifier. And so they're amazing because they don't get the bacteria in the actual humidifying component, which is amazing, because that was one of the things that I absolutely hated most about doing a humidifier, was that I was always getting all this gross stuff in it. And so I know they sell them at Costco. They are wonderful because they have that silver lining within them, because they are hands down the best one, and we've used them consistently, and they are amazing at keeping the bacteria out. You still will get some bacteria in the actual tray, if that makes sense, but you won't get it in the actual humidifier itself. We've got another question about essential oil recommendations. When we're looking at essential oils, I personally go with, there's an oil company that is local called the Original Oil Shop. Also, Butterfly Express is a really good company. I've used both of those companies in comparison with like doTERRA or other oil companies, and gotten equally great results, but they are definitely more affordable, and there isn't any sort of payout. They're not a multi-level marketing type company, and so they are private labeled, and they do all of the investigation work themselves on really looking at the white labels for their oils. And I feel like they do a really great job, and so those are the companies that I do recommend. But with all of these things, I hear stories all the time about people that just try to use essential oils, or just try to use nutrition, or try to use one of these areas to be able to create a positive health benefit. And oftentimes, especially if you're trying to support the immune system, you have to go about supporting several of those areas. So not just using one area to support your health. The Original Oil Shop also has some essential oils that, instead of the carrier oil being coconut oil, the carrier oil is CBD oil on some of their stress relief and pain relief blends. But I helped them out one year at a farmer's market, and people would try out their oils and walk around the farmer's market and come back and buy like 3 of them, because they were getting such phenomenal results with that Original Oil Shop oil. So they do a really good job. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Please, please, please do not hesitate to use my email to reach out and contact me with any immune questions that you have. Whenever things arise, I just want to stress more than anything that there are additional options that we can do to support you. And so if there's things that are happening with your children or with your husband or with your own health, no matter what it is, there's no dumb questions. If I don't think I can do anything to help or add that additional support, then I'll let you know. But always better to ask and feel empowered to have some of these things in your medicine cabinet at home, and to be able to support your families during this crazy time. With all of the stress and all of the fear going on, I hope you leave this class more optimistic, knowing that there's lots you can do to support your and your family's health, and know that I am here as a resource for you anytime you need. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful and fantastic rest of your day.